perfect time of the day, this early morning. There aren't the usual dawn, or rather there isn't the usual dawn chorus. There aren't the usual number of different species calling. Franklin making a bit of a noise to the northern end of the open area. It's rather a still day, unusually so. Quiet before the storm? Don't know. Zebra in the background. They were here with the wildebeest earlier. But there are only 4 calves there, as in 5 calves. Wanna go again, Texan? Copy, thanks. You know which way they're moving? Copy, thanks. Herd of elephant coming onto the open area from the west, northwest. Something behind us that I've been thinking of, or been meaning to show you. An impala with the lamb. We're going to have a look at that shortly. Let's just see what these wildebeest are up to, because there is a little bit of interaction. We ought to go up to the top of the ridge. Something going on here. What happened was this morning, most of these wildebeest and the zebra here, where we are now, they've all moved a little bit south. That's why they're away from us. And as we started, there was one cow that came running down over the ridge towards the herd calling. And now the bull has run back to where she came from. I don't know if they might have something over there that they're looking at. We'll get to these impala in a minute. We take a look at the ridge. Just want to see what those wildebeest are up to, in case they are seeing something. Well, hyena, impala looking at hyena. That's probably what the Franklin was shouting at, towards the west. Let's just turn a little bit. We parked behind these impala, we'll be able to follow their gaze. I saw a hyena way in the distance. First I thought it was more than a hyena. They're not looking at it anymore, they've lost visual of it. See, now I don't know where to go first. Down to this hyena or back up to the wildebeest. If we can get to see what this predator is up to. Right, now this impala next to us, look at this. Oh, she's gone already. Hey little one, that's a new baby. And there are quite a few of them. And I don't know if anybody's really noticed this yet, but I think this is the second, rather a strange phenomenon with good rains. A second birthing in the same season. See, if there were one or two, it might be a late birth, but there are actually a number of them now, and we're going to see these new little nursery groups, kindergarten, or rather creche groups, like we saw 4 months ago when they were starting to be born in November. Very unusual. Where did this hyena go? There it is, way up ahead of us. But the Franklin is still making a lot of noise. What is your problem, child? Pardon? Yeah, I'm just looking around here because the Franklin's calling here. In case there's someone in the grasses. Franklin is highly upset about something. Here come the elephant and the hyenas. We're going to sort of have them meet up almost. Just stop here quickly. Here comes that cow with the very strange looking tusk. A hyena. Can you see them both? Hyena sort of stopped in its tracks. Texan, come in.
Yeah, I got.
Are you still with Ndlovu?
No, I left. I'm approaching quarantine.
Okay, copy, thanks. Yeah, there's a Misi approaching Ndlovu.
Ah, okay. Thanks.
Hyenas. Not really worried much. I know we're sitting very far away. We should have tried to get closer, but let's see what happens. This matriarch's going to charge the hyena. Watch this. It is quite a distance, but she doesn't want that hyena around her youngsters. There's a very young one there. Fang. White Fang, the elephant. One of her herds actually carrying a tree. Take away food. Dropped it now. Let's move up a little bit so that we can get to see them. They seem to be on a mission down to the dam. Actually, you know what? We're going to stay right here. They'll come past us, I hope. Herd is very bunched up, and that's probably because there's a hyena around. A couple of young bulls hanging out at the back. Okay, they're just rushing towards a marula tree. And now those young boys at the back starting to rush to catch up with the group. That is a really strange looking elephant. The way her tusk curls backwards like that. It could be a genetic deformity. It could be, I don't know, maybe something happened when she was young. More than likely genetic. Alright, we're going to try and get closer to them. Lovely big herd of them. Very youngsters, very young calves. Even the younger calf that's just come in. Hyenas obviously left its scent here. There's a new herd, this one that we're looking at now. New herd have just come in, a new family group. They've obviously picked up the scent of hyena, possibly something else. There's an impala ram here that is also looking very... he's coming running past the elephant now, and they're a little startled by him. But yes, they've picked up the scent of a predator. They are getting very defensive. They've got the calves in the middle, the bigger cows toward the outside. And they will be a little bit more vigilant at the moment. Whether there's more than a hyena, I don't know. That was a young hyena anyway. But to the elephants, it's the smell of a predator. And they are going to be a little bit more defensive. Strangely, no trumpeting. Very, very silent. Cat, could we go to those elephant on the right, please? Notice how they are almost standing watch. Ears are out, listening. Oh, now they've stopped. But trunks up, ears out, they're facing the direction that this hyena went. Taking up quite a defensive posture.
That's good.
Yeah. They're not relaxed. You can see that one cow, her ears are out forward, listening for any movement. There's a very, very young one between the two of them. Probably the youngest of all these little ones. They're three very small ones. That one's only a few months old. Another two little ones having a little shoving match. Probably three youngsters here under a year old. And we did see some of this group at the dam yesterday. Very, very special. So they must have done a very big loop overnight. It's also weird. came out, now they're heading back almost the direction they came. Okay, we're going to move up a little bit. A little bit of colour coming to the sky where the sun's risen. Pinks and oranges. Morning, Ephraim. Champion Law of Western Side of Quarantine. It's like decision was made. We're going this way now, and they've all moved on. I would say that that big cow with the downward pointing tusk would be the matriarch. She seems to be the one that's leading and the one that has made the decision. Look at that little one. Keeps turning around to check if Big Sister's coming. Morning, young lady. If she may be pregnant, carrying her first calf. Okay, we'll see if we can keep up with them. They seem to have stopped now, starting to feed. Columbia and Law now heading west. They're coming out towards that open area, beginning of Zoe's Road. I think in 2 years, the first time I've ever done this. There's a little track here that I didn't even know about. Obviously vehicles have done this before. I've never. We're going to miss these spider webs. So, yeah. This is an open area. We saw that cheetah in Mishu one time. I mean, Zoe's Road is just up in the top end of this open area. I'm hoping they're going to be coming out this way. They are moving in this direction. In fact, there's a scotia, a boorbean, with a tree fuchsia on a termite mound. Up to the left, that's where Mishu climbed up victoriously after chasing the cheetah off of the open area. See if we can get to a point. I think they're still moving this way. But they are in some very thick cover at the moment. What made them turn around and come back this way is up to anyone's guess. Quite pretty here. I haven't been down here before. You can just see the herd. Well, a couple of them at the top of their backs. They've stopped and listened. I don't know whether they've gone into thick cover because they've sensed some sort of danger. Can't imagine they would have. Graham, come in. Morning, Graham. Please approach from Zoe's. Excuse me. Let's see if our patience is going to be rewarded. They're going to come out through the trees. A lot of them moving about. They seem to be feeding more than anything else. We've got a slight advantage of height here, so we can look down onto them. But if we were down there, we wouldn't be able to see them very much. Yeah, yeah. Morning, Herman. Mr. Prager. How are you this morning? Herman wants to know how old I think these youngsters are. Well, they're three very young ones. All three of them I think are under a year. Starting to see a few more emerging out of the bushes there now. And they're coming parallel to us now. I'm going to move again just a little bit, getting an idea which way the herd is moving. They keep following the tree line, they're following the ecotone. The line of silver cluster leaf. Oh, we're getting charged by one of the little ones. Came running towards us. I think there are actually 4 little ones here. There's a young cow moving behind a sickle bush in front of us that's got a very young one. Cow and her calf. This calf is about, I'd say it's probably about 2 years old by now. 18 months to 2 years, still suckling. They're the 3 little ones in front of us now. under the silver cluster leaf. See, they're not feeding much on vegetation at this stage, so they've a lot of time to play. Only we've now got an adult in the way. Like a little creche group. The herd has spread out a lot now that they're in this sort of cover. I think they were just moving away from the place where there was the scent of predator. Could be more than just the hyena that was around. Induna was around the lodge yesterday. He might have been doing something around quarantine, the open area. They were very bunched up when they were there, and now that they've come out into this semi-open bush, a lot of this terminalia, we're on the line of the silver cluster leaf, they spread out considerably. And one thing that tells me that they're so much more relaxed now is that these cows are letting these three little ones run rampant. I mean, these youngsters are quite normally within body touch, within inches of their mums when they're moving around, but when they're stopping and feeding, gives the youngsters a little bit of time to break free. On the spider web, Mrs. Ellie. But you don't really care, do you? Morning, madam. Lovely old girl, this. Yeah, just walked through the golden orb web. I don't feel so bad if I accidentally break one now. And can't it be helped? Morning, madam. Let's move a little. We're now suddenly at the back of the herd. going to work. But the youngsters in front of us, I want to get to a spot where we're going to be able to have them coming towards us. Also, maybe here has one of the first little ones coming through. Mom, she's guarding it. I found ourselves in the middle. Okay, I'm just going to have to move again. This should give us quite a nice view if they come out. They are moving now, and instead of single file or instead of close together, they're moving. Oh, now they're joining up again. Having just said that. Hello, little one. All made their way to that big marula tree. So we're going to make our way to the other side of it. This Mom was rubbing against the tree, and there she is. She's having a good rub. You see, baby's going to do the same thing. A way of learning, copying. I'm thinking that they've actually split up now. Unless the big girl is still coming through. I haven't seen her. And there's only about half the number of elephants that we've got that have just come past us. Still one or two to the right. So I'm thinking that the family groups have split up. They seem to have gone maybe separate ways. Let's see. Hook up with them again. Can make a noise there. Big sticks. Maybe we can squeeze past it. A dead tree on the ground. Yeah, right on Zoe's road. Now you're gonna scream because you don't know where. Oh, there's Mom. Oh, very strange. Such a youngster running towards her, turning around, not knowing where it is. Now as they're heading across Zoe's road, heading back towards the west, they're getting into some really thick stuff. They still are following this line of silver cluster leaf. Ecotone, a very distinct composition of tree is very distinct. Soil type. They've skirted this little open area that I was hoping they were going to come into. And I think it's going to get a little bit more difficult to follow them now. In fact, almost impossible. So we are going to leave them. I want to head back towards Gari Dam, go and sniff around for Induna. See if we can find any sign of him. Also, there's the rest of this herd. We're going to see where they went. Very peaceful time with elephants. Not a bad word spoken. Bye everybody. See you later. Pity, I would have liked to spend more time on them. There are the rest of the herd, this other family group, actually still here amongst a lot of this thatching grass. They are making their way into a slightly different direction. This would be the herd, or rather the family group that belongs to that fanged female. Should be her here, I think. Yep, this is her. She's going to go behind us. She's going to take the herd behind us. Hang on. before you focus. Yeah, cover both bases. Now making her way to catch up with the rest of that herd. Taking her family that side. Following them. Oh boy, this is just the only way to start a day. Welcome to Wild Earth Safari with Mark and Kat and a wonderful herd of elephant. Here comes a really little one. This is probably the youngest of all. This is only a couple of months old. 3 months, maybe 4. Cat, what's this little thing? I was looking at you. It's gone now. Getting shy. Yeah, I was looking at you. Nice one hiding behind Mom. Down to the power line. Sorry, lady. stopped at a marula tree, obviously picking up a few fruits that might still be lying around. I don't know why he has to do that. Way back in elephants' ancestry, there's an animal called a Gomphothea. And the Gomphotheas had tusks that pointed down. Look at that. We didn't see that. We were looking in on this big matriarch with her Gomphothea tusk. But one of the other big cows actually just pushed all these youngsters away from the base of that marula tree. Obviously a lot more fruit there perhaps. Still one or two on the tree, so there's still going to be marulas falling the next week or two. But it is more or less the end of the season for them. They are starting to get a little bit edgy with each other. There's another female that just chased some more away. Obviously a little pile of marula fruits that she wanted to get to. Yeah, a lot of interaction going on here. As it ripples down through the herd, the matriarch will then will discipline a younger elephant, a younger cow, an insubordinate cow, and push her away from fruits. And she will discipline or take that out on a younger calf or a younger elephant. And that then ripples down through the ranks, through the age groups. And all little one can do is chew on a stick.
He's really trying.
He is really trying, yeah. I see there's a one-tusked cow there. There's two little ones, the same age almost. And when the herd is relaxed and they're not necessarily with moms and they're just playing together, I guess that's where some people might come up with the idea that maybe they could be twins. The third little one is on the right hand side of the group with the big matriarch. It means that that other little group that split off from them has only one little one, very little one. Time to move on. See how long it takes for the rest of the herd to follow the old lady. She started moving to the next marula tree. Must be quite frustrating for these little ones. They can't see where they're going, and the grasses are so tall. They can just follow the herd. Constantly got grass in their faces. I wonder how they deal with the ticks, because they must get more ticks in their face than any other elephant. And off they go. Are we going to say goodbye? Thanks, Graham, pulling up. Fantastic. Always memorable moments. I see the monkey pod is coming into bloom. One of the last plants to bloom before the season closes. We will find some beautiful yellow flowers in the monkey pod. These cooler temperatures have opened up a lot of the wild hibiscus, the different types of wild hibiscus that we get. The Mulva family, wild cotton, scusi. Very interesting grasshopper on the bonnet, the hood. Ah, there, right on the edge now. Let's just see if we can stop and then we can close in on it. Just in front of the bull bar. It's a very well camouflaged grasshopper. And it looks like a piece of grass.
Just approaching Monkey Dam now. So far, just when I get the Monkey Dam. Take up the I check round here. Just about there. I originated from the crossing. Yeah, maybe I might be doing this one. Take up the check which back there.
There you go. Oh, mind the hat, Mark. Okay, let's go. Hey, Waxies. Excuse me. Getting rid of the frogs in my throat this morning. All gone. Just swallowed Kermit. Oh, we're back to where we started. See what has changed. The gnus have moved on. No gnus. Speaking of news, wow, pretty big news yesterday, and hoping that northeastern Japan is starting the recovery process today. Well, it's already late in their day. I hope that that tsunami didn't cause too much damage in the rest of the Pacific area. I have never felt this way about these sort of, wait, hang on, about these natural disasters. I don't know, maybe it's the way the news brings it to us nowadays. So, we now have a wildebeest. What is he up to? Aha, well, that explains it then. I'm going down that way. After you, Mr. Cook. Waiting for that wildebeest to cross. But that bull, let's see if we can see any of the others. Oh, Cool. Don't see any of these other wildebeest. I want to go the other way. Got a little bit of a traffic jam I'm trying to avoid. Still got wildebeest looking down towards... Okay, well we're going to just cut through quarantine here then. Wildebeest are all over the place today. That wildebeest bull has just run south. There's another wildebeest running to the north. And she's looking down towards Gowrie Dam. So we're going to take a look down that way. I don't know whether it was because that one vehicle, I think it was Cheetah Plains, I don't know which one it was, this came really screaming across quarantine. I'm just going to stop and see what this wildebeest is up to, because the herd seems to be a little bit split up at the moment. I think what we could have is we've got a new bull in town. I think that's what's going on here, because we've just had another bull running down to the southern end of quarantine, and there's this bull here. We haven't had two males. But he is alert. He is highly alert. And I don't know whether it's because of the other wildebeest or because of a predator. We're going to make our way down to the dam. I don't know where the zebra have gone. I don't know where the wildebeest have gone. All the females. Okay, let's go down there. Okay, sorry to start up on you like that, but yes, evidently, thanks Card. A lot of noise down at the dam. My Lucy's saying you can see a couple of hyenas down there. I think there's something going on. I think there's been something going on since this morning before we got to the elephant. So let's see, what have we got here? Just wildebeest tracks. Bit of sun coming through, but very dark in the southeast. Sun's already reaching above that very dark patch of cloud. Buffalo at the water. He's not doing much. Okay, Mel, more or less where did you see these hyenas? Behind the buffalo. So on the other side of the dam. Baboons on the dam wall. They're all a little bit too relaxed. Pardon? Well, I didn't copy that, I was on the radio. well, some of the Gari gang here, but they're not alarming at all. Sounds like Gallagher campus has radioed through that they cheated on the open area in front of Gallagher camp. And Texan just found some lion on Buffelshoek. We'll move up onto the dam wall. See if we can watch these baboon a little bit. I can hear a redback shrike ticking. There is a very young baboon here. Hopefully they're not going to move much. Got a fright from a duck that flew into the water. A whole family of comb-billed ducks, knob-billed ducks. Not seeing any sign of hyena. Could have been that these baboon might have been alarming a hyena. They are a little too relaxed for there to be any other predator around, allowing the little one to run around. A little bit of bullying by an older child. So seldom we get to see baboon behavior, and they are unconcerned with us, which is nice, especially with this little one running around. A lot of bits of hessian lying on the road that the elephants were playing with. It's time for baboon to play a little bit, and we need to come and collect that or ask the lodge to. Yeah, little one's going to be a tailor. Beautiful light now with the sun breaking through the cloud. Got a fright from the doves. Surely this is not the sum total of the Gari gang now. Seven individuals, including the little one. Thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl just letting me know the hyena was on the other side of the dam. Thanks. I believe they were on the other side of that buffalo. We will make our way there. We just thought I'd watch the baboons for a little bit. We so seldom get a chance to see them. Okay, let's move on. Mel can follow them with the camera. They're all around the Djuma Waterhole Cam now. Let's go across the dam and see what we can find on Mvubu Road. sign of these baby monitor lizards. Well, news was there was a lot of alarm calling here a little bit earlier. Obviously didn't get here in time. But what alarm calls? Was it the baboon, monkeys, birds? Okay, do we have any tracks? Do we? Old hyena tracks, elephant dung. Yesterday's elephant tracks. White-tailed mongoose. Nothing much else. I'm starting to see the hyena tracks, obviously those hyena that were up here. All heading north along Mvubu Road. Thing with hyena tracks up and down here. Let's just have a look in here where the den was. Have a look at this termite mound, see if there's been any activity here. Looks like there's been some recent movement at the mouth of that den. Whether it's because there've been elephant all around this termite mound or just general animal activity, but if there was nothing happening at the den, it would be somewhat overgrown. Broken grasses. I'm not saying it's being used. Who knows? Maybe it's being used temporarily. None of the hyenas should be having pups right now, I don't think. No, let's move on. There we go. Sorry, girl. No, you can't go. Spiders. Saw it at the last minute. Saved some of her silk. Only way she'd stop running around is when she gets back onto a piece of her silk. But a very good example there of how much a spider hates to be on a human. I mean, it's almost impossible to hold a golden orb. And sometimes the only way to carry them when they fall down, and I'm trying to put them up again, because golden orb down in these grasses is, as an adult, is pretty much doomed. And I know there are lots of them, and one wouldn't make that much of a difference, especially a small female that's not likely to mature before the cold weather sets in. But I can't help myself. And to pick her up, I need a strand of silk, because she'll just keep jumping off of my hand. She will not sit on my hand. She wouldn't even climb on my arm. Sometimes you can just keep them suspended on a strand of silk between the two hands. They just keep going from one hand to the other, and as soon as they touch one of your hands, they move to the next. And most spiders are like that. Most spiders will not like touching a human. Got any tracks of anyone up here? The top end of Mbubu Road. Giraffe Bull was here. Buffalo was here. Hi everybody, welcome back. And we're on Buffalo's cut line. A little signal issue there. And we're going to be carrying on. Go down to Gallagher, or rather Gary cut line. We're on Buffalo's cut line. And only buffalo tracks up here at the moment. Whatever there may have been at the dam, unfortunately we couldn't find anything. It could have been alarm calls because of hyena. And hyena, well, they'll probably all be in bed by now. The cloud does seem to be lifting a little to the east. More hyena tracks here. Very quiet with questions of late. Morning, Sue. New Jersey. New Jersey. Well, Sue was asking about the elephants. When the matriarch dies, who decides, or how is it decided who the new matriarch will be? Well, it's not really that there's a conscious decision, Sue. When a matriarch dies, her oldest daughter will then take over. But if she has a couple of daughters who are old enough, they will become the matriarchs of their own family units. And that's how family units tend to split up eventually over time. It's all got to do with age. There doesn't necessarily become a new leader to that family group. What could happen then is, and if she dies of old age, let's say hypothetically we've got a 60-year-old cow. Hello, mongoose. A couple of dwarf mongoose ran across the road. Let's say we have an elephant cow of about 60 who passes away. There could very well be her oldest daughter who's 40, 45, even, could even be 47. That oldest cow then becomes the matriarch, but then she becomes the matriarch of her own family unit, because she might have a sister who is only maybe 5, 8 years younger, who would also be an adult, and she might feel that she's old enough to then take care of her own family group, because they might have enough members of their own family, their own offspring and grandchildren. So it's generally an age thing. The oldest cow in the group then forms her own family group, and she might lose some of the family to a split but it's not let's put it this way, it's an amicable split. It's not something that happens with any aggression of any sort. Nyala bull, we've seen him before. We saw him here just recently under this jackalberry. And the one female, the one Nyala, unless there are more now, both of them have run deeper into the bush. Oh, it's a young male that's with him. The other dad was a young female with him. Little boy learning from dad. Gary cut line coming up to Central Road. Figure out where to go from here. Tracks? Anything here? Let's see. Lack of tracks, that's good. Lack of car tracks. I don't think anybody's driven here this morning. Hello, Teresa. The subject of elephant tusks. Elephants that have tusks that grow out at angles, that Teresa wants to know, is that due to an injury or is there a different cause to that? I think some of the time it's genetic. I mean, if you look at elephant tusks are the incisors, the two front teeth. And when you look at some of us humans, we have slightly skewed front teeth. Some people have buck teeth, some people have gaps in their teeth, some people have an incisor that is bent sideways. Some people might have incisors that stick. Now, if you have to extrapolate from that, I mean, if you just have a minute variation in the shape of the, well, not the shape, but the direction that a tusk is starting to grow at the base, you can imagine that by the time, excuse me, it's 3 feet long, it's going to be pointing in an odd direction. So some of it is genetic. I guess there's a possibility that some of it could have something to do with an injury as a youngster. I think more often than not, though, it's a case of just, I wouldn't say a deformity, it's just a genetic anomaly. Hi, Laurie. Laurie back in Nova Scotia. What was that crossed the road? Must have been a Dacre. I just saw a little shape. Laurie. Nova Scotia. Was it a Dacre? I can't see anything there. Going to take Nyala Road south. See, now that Dacre interrupted my thoughts. What was that question now? Think about it. Memory like a sieve. And it's just filtered through my brain. Well, if you could give me Laura's question again. Somehow it slipped my mind completely. Sorry, Laurie. Ah, okay. Of course. Thank you. Jewel beetle. One of these days I'll be able to get one, but they fly so high and they fly so fast. Jewel beetles. How often does a female elephant give birth? Laurie wants to know. Well, Laurie, let's work it out. Gestation, about 22 months. And then baby's born. And it's going to be at least 2 years old before she's going to be in estrus again. And then another 22 months. So anywhere between 5 and 6 years is the gap. In fact, you might be able to increase on that. But I'd say roughly 5-6 years between births. Maybe a bit more. Quite typical of a cloudy day. When we wake up and it's cloudy, it will burn away by lunchtime. It's nice that it's building up, because that means that when full moon rolls around, we might even get some rain. A little bit more in a week to go to full moon. But with a bit of luck, it's building up for then. We do need quite a bit more before the end of the season. Morning, Franklin. Starting to get a bit of road sense, those Franklins. Moving off the road before I get there. Civet tracks, rhino tracks that are old. Big civet was here, going the opposite direction. Rhino went that way. What else? Some old buffalo tracks. Lovely seeing a road that hasn't been driven for a while. A lot of tracks. No one wonders, actually. You know, we can spend hours driving not seeing a thing, and yet you can have a road like this that's just covered in tracks. But I suppose a lot of it is birds, francolins, doves, and mongoose and civet, and a lot of things maybe happening in short bursts, but because it hasn't been driven, it's the last 48 hours of activity, it makes it seem a lot. Dundell or Blundell, wanting to know about Nile crocodiles. What do they eat? Well, as youngsters, when they hatch, you've got to remember, when a Nile crocodile hatches, it's only about 10-12 inches long, 30 centimeters the most. And that is when their mother will take them to a nursery area. Fresh buffalo tracks. The nursery area being a little patch of still water, backwater, where they will engage in hunting of grasshoppers and frogs and maybe small fish and tadpoles and maybe aquatic insects and the like. As they start growing, so their prey items start getting bigger, and they start eating slightly bigger fish, maybe bigger frogs, and maybe starting to get a bit of a hankering for warm-blooded animals like rodents, if they can get them. There's a species of rodent that is associated with swampy areas. It's known as the flay rat. Fairly large rodent. I have no doubt that they're places where crocodiles must, if not in the past, but or if not now, but in the past, fed on them. And we're going to take Vulture's Nest back towards Central Road. Concentrating mostly in the northern part of the world today. And as they start getting bigger, of course, the prey items start getting bigger. You know, crocodiles are, I would say, predominantly fish eaters. And one of the fish, the catfish, is perhaps one of their main diet items. Catfish get very big. You can get a 5-foot long catfish. Pardon? Yeah. Sometimes even bigger, but yeah, that's a pretty big catfish. 1.5 meters, 2 meters. And the what we call tilapia. You'd call them bream in the States, or brim. Excuse me a second, just listening to the radio. I think everybody's on Buffelshoek anyway, so there's nobody around Western Gowrie today anymore. They found lion and cheetah up there. And then of course when crocodiles get very big, that's when they can take things like impala. Even mid-sized crocodile can take impala. But it's the big crocodiles that are then taking things like wildebeests and kudu and impala, maybe young zebra. And of course, can't forget, go away fly, I need a fly swatter. I'm waiting to pass some guarri because I need a fly swatter. Fly swish. Not the best time of the year for guarri, for fly swishes. This will do for now. Of course the odd human also becomes food. Some dung in the road. Got to see what this is. This is waterbuck. I haven't seen the waterbuck for a while. They're hiding. Excuse me, spider. I see you starting to make a new web here, but I'm afraid it's not going to work, girl. Go back to the tree and start again. Dwarf mongoose. And they've all disappeared already. Hello. Shouted at me from the grasses. Bit of a whiff of elephant musk. Tell her about what? I'm sorry, I didn't get Ranger Diaries. I don't know what the Ranger Diaries are, I'm afraid. Pardon? No, but I don't understand the question. I'm sorry. I know I might be sounding very dumb this morning. I don't understand the question. What is the question about Ranger Diaries? If it's the Safari Diaries that we're uploading every day, that Kat and Herman are working on, but I don't see the question in there. Sorry, Cindy, maybe reword it. I'm going to Hyena Road now, and we're going to do an opposite loop to the loop we've just done. Make a big figure eight around Buffelshoek Dam. Maybe Mel can repeat the question for me. Okay, I'm not quite sure what Cindy's saying. She's seen the Ranger Diaries and it looks great, but no one in chat has seen the ad. Sorry, I'm at a huge loss here. I think, is it the Safari TV Diaries? And I don't know. Maybe Cindy, please just try and clarify something there. I'm not too sure what it is. Are you coming to eat me, Spider? Sorry, girl. Covered in soap. Hello, Joe in Vancouver. Why did the hyenas hang around the Ellies? It wasn't really. It's not really a case of the hyenas hanging around the Ellies, Joe. It was just one of those circumstantial things. Hyena was going one way, elephant was coming another way. The paths crossed. Something that does happen. Animals do cross paths. It wasn't that the hyena was hanging around the elephant. The elephant were making their way in the same direction that the hyena was making its way in, and their paths crossed. You wouldn't ordinarily find hyena hanging around elephant. The elephant would chase them off. Elephant are a danger to hyena. And consequently, by the same token, that's a better phrase, by the same token, a large pack of hyena can be a threat to those very young calves. But it's certainly not a common thing to see. In fact, I'd say it's probably the first time in maybe 2 years that I've seen hyena and elephant crossing paths. So one can't draw a conclusion that the hyena hangs around the elephant, because that's not the case. It was just a matter of the two species being in the same place at the same time. Zoe. Oh, Zor. Sorry, Zor. Zor's question, at what age do elephants become adults? At the same age as us. One thing you can say about elephants is that their lives are on a, very much of a par with us humans in terms of, well, actually in many things. The only thing that isn't on par with is maybe the gestation period. But other than that, aging process is the same, longevity is about the same, puberty is about the same age as us. And yes, they'll be young adults going into their 20s. They won't be proper adults until they're in their 30s. Oops. Okay. Didn't get any comments or stones thrown at me from the back. No. You missed. No, it wasn't a joke. You just missed the comment. That's good. Watch the footage. Edit it later and hear it.
You won't see me coming.
No, I won't see you coming. Don't use this. Am I hearing a puncture again? Other side. Front. Front left. This is a bad place to change a wheel. I'm not going to be, we've got a huge rush. I'm just going to have to move until I'm in a better place. Okay, I think we're averaging what? Puncture a drive nowadays. Actually, it's a bit more than that because Patrick had 2 the other day. Weird, because my last set of tires on my Land Rover, I managed to go 10 years of off-road driving without a puncture. Okay, that's all to do it about here. Please excuse me while I play mechanic. This might take a while. I need one of these. I need one of these. What's up, bird? See, you think that you're murdering a bird all the time. Just lock it in gear. There we go. Okay, done. Good stuff. Ozone water. Oh. Okay, we're done. Let's go and hope that that's all it is for today. I'm surprised nobody's been keeping times with the tire changes, you know, like they do in Formula One. Actually, let me just, I forgot something. Aren't always rocks around, you got to have a brick. And the brick, of course, also doubles as an attitude adjuster. And now I'm starting to hear hissing noises. There better not be hissing noises. Onward ho. All these pans here on Hyena Road are dry. They're about twice the size that they were 2 years ago when I first got here. But this is something that I can show you. This is how natural pans and natural dams are formed. See, once upon a time, this might have just been an elephant track that filled up with mud and a warthog wallowed in it and took away a little bit of mud, and every time it rains and it makes it muddy, the animals come and utilize the mud and utilize the water. And it's the buffalo and the rhino and the elephants, not so much the warthogs anymore, because, well, they'll take away a little bit of mud. But this is probably, I'd say, twice the size of what it was. It's twice as deep as well as what it was when I first got here 2 years ago, when it was very wet this time of year. And there's a second pan. We should call this 2 in a row pan.
Twin pan instead of twin dam.
Twin pan instead of twin dam. Twin wallows.
Sleepy Hollow.
Twin wallows and sleepy hollows. Give that a few more years, the 2 will be 1, and it'll be a nice sized little pan. It'll get to be the size of Chelapan. And that's how Chelapan originally came about, probably from just being a little wallow, just a little mud hole. Morning, starlings. Oh, okay. Thank you, Vicky. I beat my old record of 14 minutes. Now I did it in 12. I thought that was quicker than 12 minutes. I thought you said 6. Okay, so I've got to beat 12 minutes next time. Thanks, Kat. That makes me feel better. Felt like 6 minutes. Okay, I wouldn't quite make it onto a pit crew, whether it's at the Daytona or whether it's IndyCar or Formula One or even a rally car. I suppose I might make pit crew on a rally car because there's no time involved. Ouch! Spiders, spiders, spiders. What are we going to do? All these north-south roads that you get. I'm just going to have to creep around you, girl. Children's go-karting. Why would you even mention children?
They drive slower.
Because they drive slower.
Yeah.
That's when the cars are smaller. Quicker to change a tire. But yet somehow you could see me with a bunch of screaming kids changing their tires. I do love kids, I do. Here in the bush, where I can teach them things. And oh look, there are tracks crossing the road, he says, changing the subject. Buffalo and elephant. No, kids, I do love you kids. I think there's so much kids can learn from Tara, Patrick and myself. Well, I suppose any of the guides really, when any of the kids come to the bush. But for those kids that can't, and for the kids that we can reach through Wild Earth Safari, there's just so much we can teach. And you know what, I have to say that sometimes kids have more interesting questions. No, that's not the right word. But yes, kids have a different perspective of things, so their questions are different. I wouldn't say they're better questions or more. They're different, and the kind of things that kids want to know are amazing. And I love interacting with kids here in the bush, and that's why we do, from time to time, we do a school safari. We'll get a school to hook up with us. And while kids are at school, we can... Actually, there's a school in Australia that's going to be joining us soon. But only, I think, for the first part of the morning, because by 6:30 they're already leaving school. So I need to just revisit that email and check on it. Elephants. But yes, those of you who know of any schools that might be interested in joining us on a live safari, whether it's our morning safari for people on the Pacific Rim like Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Russia, our morning drive is sort of early afternoon of the kids at school, or otherwise the other way around, our PM drive when kids are at school in the States. Of course, the UK only 2 hours behind us, and Europe almost the same time zone. Could happen anytime. More likely later on in the morning, than in the afternoon because the kids will be home already. But it allows youngsters to interact with us here on the vehicle through their teacher while they're watching the stream, and we can answer questions live. We can dedicate half an hour to an hour to that classroom or to that group of kids, take only questions from them and concentrate on whatever subject it is that class is learning, and try and do a bit of experiential or virtual field trip. Hello, Buffelshoek Dam. We're not going to see the hippo because they're behind this. Go away. This flower is really, it's been following me the whole morning. I just need to wave my guarri branch, chases the flower away. Let's go to the other side of Buffelshoek Dam, have a look from the other side. Hello, Angie in Iowa, US of A. Do I ever wear shoes? Yeah. We're probably at the end of our battery power at the moment, so we're going to just have a quick goodbye and we'll see you this afternoon. My name is Mark, Cat's been on camera. And just by the way, just to let you know, tree frogs are calling all around here. They're in the trees, they're waiting for rain to come, and they're probably going to try and get their nests going again just before the end of the season. So maybe we get a bit of rain today. We'll see you later, 3:30 Central African time. Bye for now.